Here are the top stories for today, February 14, 2022. Love and jabs. The government rolls out COVID-19 vaccination for kids aged 5 to 11 in Parañaque City. Officials say protecting kids against COVID-19 is an expression of love this Valentine's Day. The National Police reminds candidates to follow the ban on campaign motorcades on weekdays in Metro Manila. The Health Department also reminds mass gatherings are still prohibited amid the pandemic. Love is in the air and on the streets. We take a look at how Filipinos from all walks of life express and spread love in many ways this Valentine's Day. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. About 2.5 million individuals belonging to the A2 category have not yet received their COVID-19 vaccines. These are the senior citizens and immunocompromised individuals. In a Laging Handa briefing, Health Undersecretary Mirna Cabotaje said they are planning to increase the number of inoculation sites, which will include clinics of big companies, to augment the existing 7,400 vaccination sites. She also said that the government will intensify house-to-house vaccination, especially for bedridden elders, and may hold a national vaccination day every month for specific age group to further ramp up the number of inoculated individuals.
Maraming hindi pa nakabakuna first dose, tapos yung ating booster ay mapataas pa. Kailangan natin taasan yung ating senior citizen. Baka one day, senior citizen, parang na-vaccination day. Papalapitin na yung vaccination sites sa ating mga citizen. Gagawing mas madali para hindi sila mahirapan.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Medical Association President Benito Atienza stressed the need to further increase the vaccination rate in the country before easing to less restrictive alert level. He said that as of Friday, only 69,800 of the target 15.8 billion children ages 5 to 11 years old were vaccinated.
Ay dapat pong pag-aralan na mabuti yan kasi nga po sabi ko nga sa inyo, lalo yung kabataan natin wala pang bakuna, ay 15 million po yan, mamaya mahawahan.
Opo.
Yun po inaano natin, sana po kung po ng mga ano natin mataas na po yung vaccination rate natin at saka sinabi po kanina, dami pa rin nating immunocompromised na hindi po nababakunahan. Sana po bago mag-lift ng alert level mataas na po yung mga bakunahan kasi buti po dito sa NCR mataas-taas na, malaki na porsyento pero marami po tayong mga probinsya na hindi pa po nakakaabot po doon sa kanilang percentage ng babakunahan.
The nationwide rollout of COVID-19 vaccination for children aged 5 to 11 begins today, February 14. The details from Marita Moahe.
Health Secretary Francisco Duque led the ceremonial vaccination this morning at the Soler in Parañaque City along with the National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer Carlito Galvez Jr., Presidential Advisor on COVID-19 Response Vince Dizon, and Parañaque City Mayor Edwin Olivares. Duque said the symbolic vaccination today, which coincides with Valentine's Day, aims to show our love for the children who have been staying at home for almost 2 years due to the pandemic. He cited the importance of inoculating the kids in line with the resumption of face-to-face classes. For his part, Galvez said almost 91,000 children aged 5 to 11 years old have been inoculated, while around 9 million are in the 12 to 17 age group. No adverse effects after immunization have been recorded so far among the kids except for fever, headache, and swelling in the injected area. In Iloilo City, Mayor Jerry Treñas graced the launching of the COVID-19 vaccination for children 5 to 11 years old at the Iloilo St. Paul's Hospital this morning. Treñas said that the age group is the only remaining big sector that is left unvaccinated. The local government targets to vaccinate over 60,000 children from the age group. San Mateo Rizal also kicked off its pediatric vaccination this morning at the SM City, San Mateo. Over the weekend, Manila held its pediatric vaccination at 4 big malls to ensure that more kids will be accommodated. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Marita Moahe.
In Baguio City, the majority of the pediatric patients with COVID-19 were infected inside their house by a family member. Data from the Health Services Office and the UP Baguio Department of Mathematics and Computer Sciences show a total of 1,795 children aged 5 to 11 were infected with COVID-19 from March 2020 to February 2022. The highest number of cases for the age group was at 498 during the Delta surge of COVID-19, while 318 were infected during the Omicron wave. The Health Services Office said cases among children were obtained from new family members through the home and workplace transmission. The local government continues to accept the registration of young children for vaccination. So far, some 32,211 minors aged 12 to 17 are now fully vaccinated. The Armed Forces of the Philippines said it is ready to assist poll candidates for any election-related threat. AFP spokesperson Army Colonel Ramon Zagala said instances of communist terrorist group taking advantage of the elections through their various extortion schemes cannot be avoided. These include the so-called permit to campaign and permit to win, where candidates were being made to pay sums of money for them to be able to carry out their campaign activities in some areas. To ensure that the May 9 elections will be peaceful, Zagala said all AFP area commands have been tasked to give an assessment on possible trouble or hotspots in their jurisdiction so that appropriate actions can be taken. The CPP-NPA is listed as a terrorist organization by the United States, the European Union, the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the Philippines. Presidential candidates Ping Lacson, Isko Moreno Dumagoso, and the Uniteam Party of Bongbong Marcos have expressed their respective plans for the country should they win in the presidential race. The details from Chris Mundo.
Lido Reforma standard-bearer Panfilo Ping Lacson said he will be enforcing strict discipline among government officials, employees, military and police personnel if successful in the May 9 presidential elections. He said this will prevent abuses and corrupt practices for the years have been tolerated or even encouraged during past presidencies. Lacson also reassured Filipinos that the elements of democracy will be preserved and protected under his administration. Meanwhile, presidential candidate Isko Moreno Dumagoso eyes to revive the Marikina shoe industry in case he wins in the May 9 polls. He said his strategy would be to mandate the national government to procure locally made shoes in Marikina for public school students and government employees. Dumagoso told shoe manufacturers and workers that he will uphold the law promoting the development of the footwear, leather goods, and tannery industries development. The camp of presidential candidate Ferdinand Marcos Jr. meanwhile thanked El Shaddai leader Brother Mike Velarde for endorsing them. In a statement, Attorney Vic Rodriguez, Chief of Staff and spokesperson of Marcos, said the endorsement of the Uniteam bets is another testament that the call to liberate the Filipino people from the fetters of disunity gets stronger by the day. The Uniteam candidates espouse national unity, including critics and those who have different political leanings and beliefs. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Mundo.
Authorities are appealing to candidates to serve as role models in implementing the minimum health protocols during their campaign sorties. The Department of Health expressed concern over the big crowds in recent campaign sorties of poll candidates. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergara stressed that mass gatherings remain prohibited as the risk of transmission is still present. She urges local government units to help the national government monitor rallies to prevent an increase in the country's already declining COVID-19 cases. Vergara also reminds poll bets to serve as role models who follow the basic health protocols. PNP Chief General Jonardo Carlos also urged candidates to observe campaign guidelines. General Carlos reminds candidates of the directive of the MMDA prohibiting caravans in major thoroughfares on weekdays. He said scheduling arrangements will be convenient for the motorists and commuters who are rushing to and from their destinations on weekdays. He also assures that the PNP will assist in whatever possible way to ensure the smooth flow of traffic for the benefit of the people. Still ahead, the Labor Department assures the International Labor Organization it addresses attacks on labor unions. And local government units express support to the Philsys Land Bank Partnership for Financial Inclusion. Details ahead, keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Hi everyone, James Deacon here. The COVID-19 vaccines are finally here, and the government wants to make sure the vaccines reach us. So let's do our part by making sure that we get registered to be included in the vaccination list of our LGU. You can register right in the comfort and safety of your own homes through your LGU's online registration platform. And you can also register on-site in the vaccination venues or through your barangay. Remember, getting vaccinated is the first step towards ending this pandemic. So let's do our part as disciplined citizens. Bida ang may disiplina. Magpakarehistro at magpabakuna para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan.
Three elementary schools in Marawi City are ready to implement limited face-to-face classes. This after the schools finished their simulation to determine solutions for possible problems. These are Angoyaw Elementary School in Barangay Pardidi, Mapandi Elementary School in Barangay Gadongan, and Nanapun Elementary School in Barangay Bangon. Schools Division Superintendent Dr. Ana Zenaida Unte Alonto said the division opted to focus on the three schools based on the number of vaccinated teachers, while those in far-flung communities will hone their preparations. Each classroom will have 70 learners divided into 4 groups to observe the 1-meter physical distancing. Each group will attend classes for 1 week each month from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. A school in Iligan City received a new toilet facility as well as tree seeds and relief goods with the help of the Philippine Army and private volunteers. Claire Gighe has the story.
The Rotary Club of Maria Cristina or RCIMC, in partnership with the 55th Engineering Brigade of the Philippine Army, turned over the newly constructed 2 comfort rooms in Dulag Elementary School in a hinterland barangay in Iligan City under RCIMC's Project Kahinyas and benefiting 216 pupils in the said school. RCIMC President Shine Vargas said one of the areas of focus of the Rotary is water and sanitation, disease prevention and treatment, and peace and conflict resolution. She also hoped that their project will help change the lives of the pupils.
We hope sa pag-anhi namo paghatag og kasillas 2 units and hand wash area nakaserve ni sa mga tao dinhi dili lang sa dulo pati sa Iligan City sa mga estudyante nato dinhi ug ma-change namo for the betterment ang lives sa mga taga dinhi.
The 554th Engineer Battalion of the 55th Engineering Brigade spearheaded the construction of the comfort room with hand washing facilities, which started in November 2021. A community outreach program was also held wherein multivitamins, hygiene kits, sleepers, face masks, and relief goods were provided to the pupils. Seeds of marang and langka were also thrown in the vicinity of the school through a seed bombing. With the extended aid in the school, recipients conveyed their thanks to the sponsors. Dulag School Principal Fraxi Maruhum shared that they have been using the old comfort room ever since he was still a grade 1 pupil in the same school. According to him, the new comfort room will serve as a model in the community that males and females should have separate rooms.
Dako kayo mong pasalamat, magpasalamat mi o kanang walay katapusan. Unta nga kaning parean nga mga aktibidad magpadayon kay dako kay ni tabang para sa pilahan.
For PNA Newsroom, Claire Gigha of the Philippine Information Agency, Iligan City and Lanao del Norte.
The Department of Agrarian Reform has turned over a 10.9 million peso bridge project for the use of farmers and residents in Purok, Manga, Barangay San Jose in Norala, South Cotabato. The Manga Bridge project was implemented under the tulay ng Pangulo para sa Kaunlaran Pang-Agraryo in partnership with the Department of Public Works and Highways in Socsargen and the local government of Norala. The new bridge connects the barangays of Lapus, Matagol, and Liberty and will benefit more than 6,000 residents of the three villages. DAR Socsargen Assistant Regional Director Roldan Ali said this bridge would help the farmers deliver their agricultural products faster, safer, and cheaper to trade centers and markets. Norala Mayor Clemente Fedoc and Punong Barangay Salvador Floro also thanked the DAR for the bridge project and committed to take care of the project. The Department of Labor and Employment assured the International Labor Organization, or ILO, that it is investigating and filing cases on reported trade union rights violations. The DOLE reacted to an ILO report on new grave allegations of violence and intimidations against workers. DOLE Secretary Silvestre Bello III said there are functional administrative mechanisms and legal remedies such as national and regional tripartite monitoring bodies, or RTMBS, which monitor and address cases of violations of labor and trade union rights. He said at least 60 cases of alleged extrajudicial killings and attempted murder under the current administration are under close watch. Bello called on trade unions and workers to report violations of workers' rights to the RTMBS. The DOLE chief also enjoined trade union leaders and workers to file criminal complaints against those who red tag them. Local government units expressed full support for the Philippine Identification System, which allows marginalized registrants to open bank accounts even without an initial deposit. The Philippine Statistics Authority organized a webinar to discuss financial inclusion with about 300 LGU representatives and other PhilSys stakeholders. The PSA has partnered with Land Bank of the Philippines to allow unbanked PhilSys registrants to finally have accounts. Under PhilSys co-location strategy with Land Bank, registrants can open bank accounts after completing the Step 2 biometrics registration process. PSA Undersecretary Dennis Mapa said the PhilSys solves the problem of the lack of valid proof of identity experienced by many Filipinos. Mapa added the effort makes Filipinos less vulnerable to informal lending practices that charge onerous interest rates. Earlier, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas said financial inclusion does not end with a transaction account but in availing a broad range of financial services. Up next, the Philippine National Police spares no effort in probing the series of attacks against customs employees. And we celebrate love in many ways as the country marks Valentine's Day. More stories when the PNA Newsroom returns. The Philippine National Police is looking into the possible leads in the series of attacks targeting employees of the Bureau of Customs. Last February 11, BOC Information Technology operator here Menlapas was shot dead in front of his house in Santa Ana, Manila. PNP Chief General Leonardo Carlos on Sunday ordered investigations to get evidence as he noted that the attack is unlikely an isolated case. The incident happened 2 days after a grenade attack in front of the House of Customs Deputy Commissioner Teddy Raval in Quezon City on February 9. Police records also showed that there had been 4 attacks against customs employees from December 2021 to January this year. Carlos said he wants investigations to find out if there are similarities on how these attacks were executed. A couple involved with the New People's Army surrendered voluntarily to government troops in Agusan del Norte. Brigadier General Romeo Karamat Jr., Director of Police Regional Office 13, said the couple decided to be with their families again after abandoning the communist movement on Saturday. Karamat identified the surrenderers as alias Wendell, the team leader of Sub-Regional Committee 3, Guerrilla Front 4A under North Central Mindanao Regional Committee of the NPA. Wendell surrendered with his live-in partner alias An from Misamis Oriental, serving as squad medic. Karamat said Wendell is the brother of Jealan Pinalhilid alias Baking, the commanding officer of Guerrilla Front 4A operating in Agusan del Norte and some parts of Misamis Oriental. He told the remaining NPA guerrillas in the Caraga region to surrender and live peacefully with their families and communities. Local officials of Dinagat Islands hailed the sacrifices of a lineman who was one of those who supported the island's rehabilitation after the onslaught of Typhoon Odette. Vice Governor Lino de Merey Jr. and Representative Alan Uno Ecleo commended Jerome Sajonia, a lineman from Cotabato Electric Cooperative or Cotelco, for his contributions to the efforts to energize Dinagat Islands. Sajonia was part of a 10-man team who were sent by Cotelco to Dinagat Islands last January 22. Cotelco was among the electric cooperatives in Mindanao that joined the nationwide task force Kapatid to provide manpower and equipment to provinces badly hit by Odette last year. Unfortunately, Sajonia met an accident last January 21 while working in one of the electric posts in Barangay Valencia in Cardianao town. Demerey and Ecleo agreed to shoulder the expenses for the hospitalization of Sajonia to show gratitude for his service. In sports, 3 new COVID-19 cases were detected among personnel manning the Winter Olympics in Beijing. The Winter Olympics Organizing Committee said 2 cases were found Saturday in new airport arrivals and 1 was in the closed loop. All personnel are in a closed loop separated from the public. One of the new arrivals was classified as either an athlete or team official, and the other was one of the other stakeholders. The committee did not provide further details on their identities. For the police in Legazpi City, Albay, Valentine's Day is not just another day of public service, but also a time to spread love and cheer. Police personnel serenaded motorists and commuters and gave away heart-shaped balloons in front of the Police Regional Office 5 headquarters in Camp Simeon, Ola. Police Regional Director Brigadier General Jonel Estomo said the PRO 5 aims to cheer up Bicolanos as they celebrate Valentine's Day. He hopes for everyone to love each other and unite for a safe, peaceful, and progressive community. Police in Malasiki, Pangasinan also celebrated Valentine's Day by giving away balloons, face masks, lollipops, and other gifts to motorists. They also distributed calling cards and reminded the public to still adhere to the minimum public health standards. Meanwhile, in Negros Occidental, some 87 couples in Silay City tied the knot in a mass wedding in time for Valentine's Day. Mayor Mark Goles officiated the event at the Natalio G. Velez Sports and Cultural Center. Special prizes were awarded to the oldest, youngest, and best attired couples, as well as to those who lived together the longest and with the most number of children. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. Love and jabs, the government rolls out COVID-19 vaccination for kids aged 5 to 11 in Parañaque City. Officials say protecting kids against COVID-19 is an expression of love this Valentine's Day. The National Police reminds candidates to follow the ban on campaign motorcades on weekdays in Metro Manila. The Health Department also reminds mass gatherings are still prohibited amid the pandemic. Love is in the air and on the streets. We take a look at how Filipinos from all walks of life express and spread love in many ways this Valentine's Day. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. A very happy Hearts Day to everyone. Good day.